the Contrarian FX trader, VP from No Nonsense Forex. It is all yours.
Thanks, Todd, and thank you, everybody, for coming in and watching this. I hope it is going to be worth your time. This talk that I have here for you is going to shock a lot of people, especially if you have been trading for a little while. But that's kind of what I do. I don't like speaking ill of the old way things are done. I have a lot of friends that trade that way. I have a lot of friends in the education space that do that. But being a contrarian was my only way out. I was stuck for a very long time. I decided to do things completely different, and it worked. And so I put it all together and showed everybody else, and here we are today. So if you don't know who I am a professional Forex prop trader. If you don't know what that is, we'll talk about it soon. Most of you who already know who I am know me from YouTube. And yeah, if you don't know me, you know, Todd will have all the links where you can go find me. But my YouTube channel is definitely the #1 place where people have discovered me in the past. Now, I also have a blog that supplements the channel, which is really helpful to people. Some people just like to see things that way. So I always try to make sure I have a print version of what I do. And then I'm also a podcaster. Now I have two. So one has ended. That was a podcast on Forex trading, and that was a big part of the educational material on the YouTube channel. And now we've taken a little bit of a pivot. Now we do a podcast on contrarian investing. If you want to know what that is, it's called the 10-Minute Contrarian. You can just go to your favorite podcast player, or you can go to YouTube. It's on both, and just look that up. And that's what we have going on right now. So I take a contrarian approach to trading and investing. I've been successful in both. Go figure. Maybe it's a good avenue. I don't know. But this is going to be a very important decision for you when it's all said and done. I hate to put this much pressure on you this early in the game, but I don't know where you are in your trading journey. I don't know if you're just starting out and you're just learning the ropes, or if you've been doing this for a few years, or if you've been doing this for 10 to 15 years. I don't know. But what I do know is at the end of our talk, you're going to have a choice. It's really one way or the other way. You know, you're either going to go the traditional way as far as your education goes, you know, the route that almost everybody takes, or you're going to have to go my way. There's not much in between because they are that opposite. So what I need to do is do what I'm not really comfortable doing, but I need to qualify myself a little further, because if you're going to go my way, you obviously want to go with somebody who's successful. And I am. I've been a professional prop trader for 7 years. What a prop trader is a company hires you and puts you through rigorous tests to see if they want you on their team. And once you're on their team, they give you their money to trade on their behalf, and they pocket some of the profits. I pocket the rest of the profits. This is good because I no longer have to put up my own money. My own money and all the money that I make can go towards other things. It can go towards investments. I have other businesses it can go towards. It can go into savings. It can go towards anything, really. It no longer has to be put up in the Forex market because I already have somebody else doing that for me. Really nice. But to become a prop trader is tough. To remain a prop trader for 7 years through all of the different market cycles that we see year over year is really tough. And I'm proud to say that I've done that, and I've done that at a high level. So there's that. But again, my claim to fame, as far as most people know me, is my YouTube channel. So I'm now the second, maybe third largest Forex trading channel on YouTube. And I did it in about 3.5 years. Now, the guy who's #1 is a man out of Singapore, and he's been doing it for about 10 years. So this is pretty impressive. I went into a really crowded space, and I broke in, and I got big. I must have been doing something right. What I have been showing people must have been working really, really well for me to grow and expand at that kind of clip. I never did any paid advertising. I just put the material up there for free, let people watch it, and it grew and grew. It just happens. Now, one of my biggest claims to fame, and the reason why it caught fire the way it did, is over time, I had completely redefined the way technical analysis is done. So for those of you who don't know, technical analysis is everything that goes on a chart to help you determine where price is going. For the longest time, let's see, spot Forex has been around since around 1996 as far as your ability to do it on a computer. And for about 25 years, it was all done one way. Crazy. There was different variations of that one way, don't get me wrong. But for the most part, it was all done one way. And then I come along, and now there's a different way. There's an alternative. And that alternative works better. We're going to talk about that soon. But while we're at it, other things I've done, I wrote a book on trading psychology. It's called, because I have no creativity, it's called No Nonsense Forex Trading Psychology. I think Todd's going to give, not a link to that, but just the name of it, so you can go on Amazon and just look it up if you want. It has over 155-star reviews. It's been critically acclaimed. I was really surprised. I'd never written a book before, but apparently the information I put out is worth something and people like it and it's useful. So this is just something to keep in mind. But at the end of the day, as far as your trading goes, it doesn't matter what I've done. My successes don't mean anything to you. The only thing you are concerned about, and you should be concerned about, is your own success. So check this out. No other channel has come close to doing this, but I have a testimonials tab on my website, nononsenseforex.com, to where you can fill it out if you have become a professional trader like I have because of what you have learned on my channel. Like somebody else has funded you. And to date, we've had a minimum of over 50 pros that my material has produced in a very short amount of time. And let me tell you, this number is low. I know that because a lot of people have told me they have gone pro on my YouTube channel, through email, through the Discord forum that we have, all other means, and they just didn't fill out the form, which is fine. You don't have to. But I would say this number, even if I'm undershooting, it is probably more on the 100 to 150 range as far as people who have gone pro through my material. Show me any other place that has done anywhere near these numbers. You can't. It doesn't exist. So if you want to know which way should I go, just saying, if you care about your own success, the proof's right there. And the proof's on the site if you want to go look at it. But understand that you are up against insurmountable odds. In many cases, if you want to make it as a Forex trader, you have to do everything you can. Now, why are these odds so bad? Well, first off, how bad are they? Now, I have made this number up. All right, don't ask me where I got it from because it doesn't exist. There's no way to find out. But the fail rate, and when I say fail, I say this because almost everybody I've ever talked to who's a Forex trader or who's looking to trade Forex ultimately wants to do it full-time or part-time. They want to do it for a living and make money off of it in that capacity. I've never talked to anybody that says, I want to learn Forex so I can just do it as a hobby. Doesn't exist. So when you take the amount of people who have actually gotten there compared to the amount of people who are currently trading right now, I would say this number is low. I would say this number is closer to 100% than it is 99.9. So again, I'm probably undershooting it, but you have probably a 0.1% chance to really make it. Now, those numbers sound grim, but what's great is that most Forex traders are already pretty aware of this number, but they don't care. They're like, I'm going to be part of that 0.1%. And that's great. Those are the type of people I want to surround myself with. Those are the people I love educating on my channel. It's been a great experience. But understand, those odds are very, very long. And one of the biggest reasons we can point to is bad education. People do not focus on the right things. And when they do, they still take the wrong approach. Think about it. Is there any other industry out there anything, factory work, engineering, medical field, anything that turns out this level of a fail rate after you've been educated, it doesn't exist, but Forex does. And education's a big part of that. If the education was good, this number would be nowhere near what we see. But there's a big problem, and that is what I came to fix. But we're going to talk about all this. We're going to go even deeper into what you see right now, because a lot of you don't believe me, and I get it. But again, this number does not lie, even though it's made up. If the education was any good, we would not have 999 out of 1,000 people not achieve their dreams in this industry. All right, so I had set out to change that. Now, speaking of focusing in on the wrong things, again, I don't know your journey here, but I do know that a lot of people who trade Forex came from the stock world, and they tried doing things the same way as they did with stocks, and you cannot do that. But nobody ever says, don't trade Forex like stocks. So the game's over before it even starts. Why? In particular, because the Forex market does not move the same way as stocks do. The drivers that move the Forex market are completely different than the drivers that move stocks. For starters, as many of you already know, when we trade Forex, we're not just trading one currency. We're trading one against another. So right off the bat, it's different. But beyond that, and this is the most popular video I have. It's called the Big Banks video. It has over 2 million views on it. This was the video that opened everybody's eyes. At first they thought it moved like stocks, and then they saw the video and they're like, oh, wait a minute. This is different. This is not the same. And if I'm trading this market like I'm trading stocks, I am making a big mistake. But understand these two things from the start, because if you don't, and you try to trade Forex like stocks or commodities or crypto, you are really handicapping yourself going forward. And as we saw before, the odds are already long. You cannot afford to handicap yourself at all. All right, so just understand that most of what you learn in stocks just does not apply here. Some of the basics do, but when you start getting into strategy, you have to completely readjust the way you think. And if you're ever going to get out of that 99.9%, the only way to get there is to adopt a contrarian approach. That's why I did what I did. That's why I made it. That's why I put my information out there, and now other people are making it too. Because don't forget, I want to hammer this number home. If this is the fail rate, and most of these people are getting their education from the same old sources, why on earth would you want to do the same? Makes no sense. Almost blindly doing the opposite of what these people do is going to serve you better. But as far as your education goes and the approach you take to this market, there's really only one way to go. So remember that. Now let's talk about what I do and why it's different. Let's drill down a bit. So there's 3 pillars that I always talk about. And before I get to these 3 pillars, let me take a drink of water. Thank you for waiting. Now, you're going to notice if I told you what do you think the 3 pillars are, and you didn't already know my channel, I bet you would get these wrong, because I'm going to leave out some things that you probably think are here. But let's take a look. First of all, money management. This is gigantic, and people spend so little time on this. And the reason why they do it is because it doesn't get a lot of clicks. The more exciting technical analysis stuff definitely gets more than the money management stuff does. And so that's just what people do. But it's a shame, because this is one of the most important things in all of Forex. Everybody wants to pay so much attention to when they enter a trade, but yet they pay so little attention to what they do after the trade. The part where you actually make the money or don't make the money is far more important than the actual entry. If you get the money management part right and you have a consistent system that works and adjusts to what you're trading and what time frame you're trading and how much money you actually have in your account, it's like alchemy. Like, you cannot go wrong. You could sit there and flip coins and make money over time. Flip a coin, heads go long, tails go short. Doesn't matter, and just blindly enter the trade. That's how important this is compared to the actual trade entry. Now the other thing I list is, like I say, 1 and 1A is trading psychology. Now, this is super unpopular because as traders, we have egos. I don't know any mentally unstable people that have interest in trading Forex. We're all pretty, mentally put together, or we like to think we are. But Forex trading exposes us for who we really are. And when it comes to our money and when we're watching it go up and down on a screen, everything we used to know goes completely out the window. Now, my trading psychology videos, I have a whole playlist. They don't get a lot of clicks, but they get the best response out of anything I've ever done. There's almost no pushback. They're like, yeah, you're exactly right. And the craziest thing about this is most people don't go to my trading psychology videos until it's already too late, until they've blown out an account, until they've taken extreme amounts of drawdown. Because that's just how we are. We don't want to be told that we're mentally and emotionally weak. But especially when we start out, we are. So what my trading psychology videos do and what my trading psychology book does is, because I've been through all this. I've been trading for about 12 years. I've made every stupid mistake you could imagine. So we identify those, because you have to identify it first before you go forward. So we identify what those mistakes are. We tell you what you should do differently instead. And therefore, you always have a reference right there anytime these problems come up. And they are going to come up all the time. And no matter how good your trading system is, from an entry point, from a money management standpoint, if you are constantly doing things to get in your own way, none of that matters. And remember, you have to do things as optimally as possible to get to that 0.1%. Those are huge odds. You can't sit there and have weak trading psychology. You will never, ever make it. I can only imagine all the people that spent all the time to put together a great trading system only to have it completely subverted because they didn't understand this part right here. So that's why I put these things 1 and 2. Now, third, and it's a distant third, but it certainly is third, is technical analysis. Now, this is the thing everybody gets excited about. Everybody thinks this is number 1. It's not. Like I said before, you could actually flip coins and just go 50-50 and still make money. But the reason we spend time on technical analysis is because over time, if you can get better entry points and better exit points and move that 50% success rate up to 51, 52, 55, maybe even 60% or more over time, every one of those little percentage points is going to be thousands of dollars into your account, into your bottom line. Because how many trades are you going to make over your lifetime? Thousands. So those little percentage points matter. And so that's why we take a very specific approach to technical analysis. And we're going to even dive deeper into that in a moment. You might be wondering, what makes this so unique? It's pretty easy. It's support and resistance lines, it's Fibonacci, it's the RSI. What's so special about yours? We'll get there. But let's talk about what you don't need. Because this is where I do get a lot of pushback. Because people have spent a lot of time on these things and they don't want to be told that their time was wasted. And I understand that. For those of you who've been doing things one way for 4 or 5 years, this is a tough transition. I get it. But that doesn't change the facts. So for starters, Fundamental analysis can pretty much go out the window, and the more of it you throw out the window, the better off you are going to be. Fundamental analysis is generally good for rich people or people who own companies that need to know long-term, like months, years in advance, the probability of what a particular currency is going to do. It makes sense for them. For traders, we're in and out way too soon for the stuff to ever really matter. You know, you might get some really positive news on the Japanese yen, but that news might not take effect, or what just happened might not take effect for another 3-4 days, another 2 weeks. You don't know. If it was going to happen right now, okay, that would be helpful, but you don't always know that. That's why you see these news events come out, and it's super bullish for a currency, but price goes the other way. Ever happened to you? It's happened to me many, many times. Fundamental analysis is just really there to misdirect you. It doesn't do this on purpose, but if you have a strong technical analysis system, the best thing about Forex over any other market is, for the most part, there's certain really big news events you have to make sure you are at least paying attention to or find a way to avoid. I get that. But for the most part, you can avoid fundamental analysis altogether and just trade from your charts and do very, very well. The whole point of technical analysis is to reduce noise. This is nothing but noise. Like I said, some people get romantically involved with things like this. They remember the times when fundamental analysis gave them a win, and they hold on to those feelings. If you really mapped it out, it's not doing you that much good. It's just not. Also, and you're going to hate this at first, but you're going to love it in the end, you don't need to trade short time frames. I don't know about you, but when I first learned Forex and people were showing me how charts work and all these great tools that, just demystified chart reading and made it easy for me, and I understood it, I fell in love with technical analysis. But every chart they were showing me was either on the 15-minute time frame, maybe the 1-hour time frame, sometimes the 5-minute time frame. And you get enough of those images burnt into your head. I thought, oh, okay, well, this is what I need to be doing. I need to be trading these time frames. Then you learn about the London session and the US session, and you're like, okay, I need to be around for those times because that's when the market's moving. Okay, I'm getting the hang of this. This is what I need to do. Then you actually do it. And you fall out of love with Forex quickly. Because, first off, life is not meant to be glued to a screen doing whatever you're doing for 7 to 8 hours, especially something that's supposed to be fun and exciting like Forex trading. It's not supposed to turn you into a zombie. It's not supposed to suck up your time. It's not supposed to give you anxiety when you go to sleep. But those were all things that were happening to me. Now, I was hell-bent on doing it anyway. Once I found Forex, I'm like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. But this whole short time frame thing was making me miserable. And I wasn't even really doing that well. I had good days, but I also had bad days. And when I really mapped it all out, it wasn't giving me the returns that I would need to move forward. So I said, okay, it sounds super boring, but I'm going to try trading off of the daily chart. I had heard that all of your technical analysis actually works better on a longer time frame, like a daily chart, so that's good. But I was so hell-bent on being that kick-ass day trader that I didn't want to make the transition. But when I did, it changed everything. I currently trade 36 currency pairs, and I knock it all out in about 10 to 15 minutes a day, often less. And I get the rest of my day to do whatever I want. And I get better results. Some of the best feedback I got was from people that said, hey, you have changed my life on this one thing alone. I cannot tell you how much better it is. Now that I'm not on these short, quick time frames, I don't crave that quick money. I understand the process. And because of that, I'm doing a lot better. So that's another thing. Now, here's the coup de grace right here. The thing that everybody wants to know is, why is my technical analysis superior to what's out there now. Let me put it this way. I will bet most of you who have not heard of me, when it comes to technical analysis, are using any combination of trend lines, Fibonacci, support and resistance lines, moving averages, RSI, stochastics, Bollinger Bands, things like that. And those aren't awful tools, but they're also completely inferior to the tools that are currently out there right now. And what's crazy is almost nobody knew about those tools until my channel came along. Blew my mind. Forex trading is the only industry that I've ever seen where all of the new technology was out there, but nobody was using it. So to put into context, all those tools that I just told you about, the newest one out of all those was created in the 1980s. Some of them are from the 70s, the 50s, even the 30s in the case of things like Ichimoku. Very, very old. And we've already established that Forex trading didn't even come around until 1996, as we know it, the spot Forex market. And we've already established that our market doesn't even move like the stock market. Yet all of those old, outdated tools were created for the stock market. Okay, not Ichimoku, that was for rice trading, but everything else was primarily created for those reasons. And we just blindly carried all these old tools over. Here's what you really need to know. I almost said something I shouldn't say. But everybody pays so much attention to the same 12 to 15 tools. Some people use these, some people use those, but it's all kind of in that same family, right? All these old, outdated, made for stock tools. Currently, there are over 10,000 different tools for you to put on your chart and use to better determine where price is going. Most of these tools were created this century for the Forex market by very smart coders that understand trading. All right. Now, that being said, most of them, the majority of them still aren't very good, but a lot of them are. And it's just a matter of going in and finding them. And once you have found them, oh my, do things change. Especially when you find one that works really well with another really good one and you're able to put them together so they kind of play off of each other. That's when things start getting really, level up. And that's exactly what we teach on the channel. But for the longest time, people were just so blissfully, ignorantly happy using these old tools. It's like if I had a friend who had a rotary phone at his house and I had a cell phone, and not only is he telling me how great his rotary phone is, when I pull out my cell phone, he's like, no, look, check out my rotary phone. It can dial. It can hang up on people. It can plug into a wall. No, rotary phone is where it's at, VP. I'm like, no, look, there's a better way. There's a much more improved way. It's out there. Just for some reason, the world didn't know about it till I came about. But that's okay. I was happy to bring it to the masses. And now they're using it. And as we saw before, they're leveraging it and they're successful. All of those things, though, it's not just the technical analysis, it's the money management and the psychology. It's those three things together. But when people saw how we do this for the first time, that's what really got them on my side. They're like, this works a lot better. Now, I will say it's very indicator heavy. What do you know about indicators? What have you been told about indicators? Because there's a lot of people out there that don't like indicators. They'll say bad things about them. They'll say they don't work. They said price action or naked charts or whatever it is the only way to go. You might have heard people say this, but I bet you what you didn't do, you didn't ask more questions. How many indicators has that guy actually tested? It's probably zero. How many indicators does that guy even know about? It's probably like 5 or 6, and they're all the old dinosaur ones. So when you hear people say this, please take it with a grain of salt. One of the greatest things about indicators is it actually gives you a definitive signal. When my indicator does this, I know to go long, to go short, or to do nothing. This is not something you can achieve with trend lines. This isn't something you can achieve with Fibonacci, because you could put different Fibonacci levels and different trend lines just about anywhere. Which one do you follow? Are you trading it to break out, or are you trading it to rebound? What are you doing? So many questions unanswered, and this leads to self-doubt and second-guessing yourself when you're trading. And with a 99.9% fail rate, you cannot afford to be doing that. You need something that gives you definitive signals. You need to add a consistent money management approach, which we cover, and get your trading psychology down before you ever even think of going pro. So you have to play the long game here. There's no instant gratification on my channel. We weed those people out right away. But just understand that it is out there. And if you want to go that direction, Todd's going to have the links to my YouTube channel, my website, the name of my book. And I think that's really all you need, especially starting out. If you go to the very front page of my website, it'll kind of, tell you what we're about, and then give you the video you need to watch first. Because the one thing I didn't really do well was put things in a proper order. So that's where that video comes in. And then get started. It's a beautiful, beautiful game. It's a wonderful route to take, especially from an education standpoint. If you learn good technical analysis and good money management and good psychology, you can translate that into pretty much any market. We have a ton of really kick-ass gold, silver, oil, crypto traders out there that just took what they learned with No Nonsense Forex and carried it over. So the places you can go with this, especially if you get good at technical analysis, regardless of which route you take, can take you so many wonderful places. But the direction you take right now is going to mean a lot into what your next 2 or 3 years actually looks like. So choose wisely. I'm here if you need me. Thank you.